Good afternoon, all. It's Max Convexity. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look and see how these high-yield funds finished up. We'll start with these Defiance ones, but then we'll look at the other ones. We'll look at some YieldMax also. Okay. So looking first at the top two rows, what I noticed is yesterday we had 5 of the 6 high-yield funds that outperformed the benchmark index. Today, every single one of them, you can tell by the red in the left-hand column, underperformed the benchmark. However, the benchmarks were up a lot. Oftentimes when the benchmarks are up a lot, these funds are not growth funds and they will underperform, especially in a strong bull market. In a strong bull market, you would much rather have a growth fund than something like this. In any event, but the counter argument to that is in flat markets and down markets, these funds outperform. So it's kind of a give and take. Okay, so those are the strikes we sold: the 18,660, the 52.75, and the 20.55. Well, if you look at the current price, which is the closing price of the day, probably pretty close, if not, because I'm on 20 minutes delayed and it's 3:22. So yeah, that's probably the closing price. It closed above the break even on all of them, and it closed above the strike price on all of them. So none of them are in the money at all, which is awesome, because we sold them. So when you sell something, you don't want it to be in the money. Remember, in the money is from the buyer's perspective. Okay, in any event, Triple QY made $1 million today. JEPY made almost $500,000. IWMY almost made $1 million. 978,000. That's not bad for the month. IWMY at 3.7 million. JEPY at 2.5, and Triple QI at 8.2 million. Earnings per share on the month: Triple QI at 49 cents, IWMY at 46 cents, JEPY at 31 cents. The dividend estimate: 71 cents, 57 cents, 95 cents, and $2.02 for QQQY 71, JEPY 57, IWMY is the 95, USOY is 202 right now. I don't have estimates on the others yet, but I'll get some going on that. Look at this. I wanted to call your attention to this. If we look to the old spreadsheet, the one I used to use, look just in this month. Well, anyway, look at the past. I mean, look at all that green there. That's amazing. That's amazing. See all those zeros there in that cover price column? That means the options they sold that day expired worthless, which means they made a max profit. Look at this up here at the top: 1.9 million, 1.9 million, 1 million back-to-back days. Last month was a bad month, and, bad months happen, but also good months happen. And this month is a good month. In any event, there's a lot of green on the board. Okay, so let's look at some other stuff. Let's try to find something more interesting than this. Let's do the buffer report. Just does not look great on the phone. Oh, good news, the computer is back. It's over there charging. It's a long story, but it works kind of sort of halfway if I keep it plugged in. So if I use it like a desktop, it should work for a while. But it is the battery. It wasn't the motherboard. A new battery will fix it. So I'm going to get a new battery soon. But for Memorial Day weekend, I'll be able to use it and make videos and stuff. I just have to keep it plugged in. Not let it die. So anyway, that's better news than I thought. A new battery is 100, and the install on the battery is 189, which I know is ridiculous. But I've already given them 79 for a diagnostic fee, and they're going to take that off the 189. So I'm already out 79 bucks. So I'll probably just pay them another 110 and put the darn battery in next week. In any event. All right, so let's look here at let's do some charts here. Charts are good at the end of the week. I like to put it on daily charts at the end of the week, but I'm not going to do that right now. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay, let's just look. So these are the 30-minute charts. But boy, look at that Russell performance today. That IWMY did not even sniff a loss. Now, of course, it had a huge loss yesterday, but it was never in any danger of losing money today. Great day. We'll check out the other index ones real quick, and then we'll go to the YieldMax ones. I'm not ignoring the single stocks. NVIDIA's been fun to watch lately. They all have. They've all been fun to watch. Look at that. That's strong. I mean, even when it, it went up and then it pulled back, but even when it pulled back, it didn't even hardly pull back that far. That's a really strong market. Or the price action looks strong. I mean, it's like no shit, Sherlock. I'm just trying to figure out how we know it's a strong market the day before it's a strong market. That would be valuable, but I can always tell you it's a strong market the day of. Okay. Let's look at Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's rallying. And I had a feeling it was because the market's been rallying. Although if you look at it, if you scan back a Bitcoin, it could still, it's only at 69 basically. 72 is the most recent high. Think we'll take it out this weekend? Probably. All right, so here's Coinbase, kind of a scanned out view. So, well, these guys have a good news and bad news situation. The good news is they're at max profit on all of their positions. But the bad news is they capped out. But they capped out kind of later in the week, so hopefully that won't affect their price too bad. Hopefully these guys will roll out, or they probably already have rolled out. We just don't know about it yet. But this weekend I'll get the trading prices for today, and we'll see where they rolled out to. Probably the 250, probably the 235, the 250. Hopefully they'll do a 3 or 4 strike ladder like they usually do. You can see they usually do up here they did a 3 strike ladder. This week they did 3 strikes. This week they did 3, then they added 2 later in the week. And then those 2 bridged into the next week and they picked up another one. Then this past week they had for a while they had 5 or 6 strikes on. And somehow those emerged down to about 3 now. All right, well, these YieldMax funds are starting to show life and starting to come back again. It's been a tough couple of weeks for some of these funds, but look at old Mr. Holy cow. Look at that. Okay, so these guys also do the multi-ladder, the 3 or 4 strike ladder, lots of months or lots of weeks. That was a 3 strike ladder. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4 strike ladder, 4 strikes. So the problem with this week is they got, actually this wasn't this week. This was last week. They got their strikes blown out pretty early in the week. What was that? That was on Wednesday morning. Their strikes were done. Boom, just gapped right through them. So, and just kept going up the rest of the week. Closed on the highs. Well, they decided they weren't going to make that mistake again. They didn't sell 5. They sold 1, but they put it 15.49% out of the money. And that's how we got this 1830 strike up here. Anyway, they got a pretty good premium for it. That equates to about an 84% dividend, what they got from that call option for selling it. In any event, within a couple of days of them doing that, they're within 5% of that strike, but then it pulled back. And then they actually made a really slick move. They covered that. The market pulled back so far, they covered that. That's why it cuts off, and they added this one. They added the lower one at the 1750. So they rolled down to capture some more premium. And then they did really well on that too, because then after they did that, the best thing that could have happened after they did that move was for the market to close it right at the strike of the new option, which I believe the strike was 1740 or 1730. It's hard to tell on the phone, but in any event, so if they would have finished right on the strike, that would have been the best outcome for a combination of their synthetic plus the short call. Well, in any event, they did rally quite a bit. They didn't rally quite to the strike, but their synthetic is going to be in good shape with the late afternoon rally. I mean, heck, it rallied in a couple of days or a couple of hours. Well, let's see here. Well, yesterday afternoon, it hit like 15:30, and then we closed today at 1683. So in one day, we just face rip. All right, nice job, mister. All right, let's look. What else do we need to look? Okay, so NVIDIA, speaking of blowing out strikes. All right, so on NVIDIA, this, it's not really, it was earnings fault is the reason the strikes got blown out. So I started drawing these strikes to scale so you can see the height of the profit box indicates how much they received to sell the option. And I put the notations backwards. The bigger box was worth 191% and the smaller box was worth 162. But in any event, that was earnings week and they got a huge amount of premium. But we gapped right. Unfortunately, after earnings come out, we shot up 10%. And so we had a huge, this fund's been capped and it's losing ground to the underlying. Although there's worse problems to have, it's making it still at max profit. It's like I always say, it's a first world problem. Well, in any event, so then we rolled out to next week. We have a couple of them, and one of them's like 69, and one of them's like 63. I average 68 or something between the two of them. But there's two strikes there, and they kind of overlap because they received a lot of money for them. But they've almost, they got to the break-even line on the bottom strike just today, and these strikes don't expire until next week. In any event, though, they closed around 1,064, and the highest strike is at 1090, it looks like. So they do have some upside left to go next week before they're capped, before they're either capped and or have to roll. All right, so whenever we look at Tesla, we're actually looking at Tesla and Crash or Crush. Crush's profit boxes are in red. Tesla's are in yellow. Crush's short puts expired worthless, so that's full profit on the short puts. A short put is a bullish strategy, so that part of the strategy was a full profit for Crash. Of course, Crash also has a short synthetic, and the market went up today, so their synthetic lost a little bit of ground, but Crash did all right. Now, Tesla, on the other hand, the market rallied right to one of their strike prices, so that's pretty much max profit on that one strike. The other one, expired worthless, so, I mean, that works too. These funds are in good shape, and I'm sure they've rolled out, and we'll cover, this weekend I'll come back and we'll cover which ones they rolled to for next week. Which strike prices. They may even keep the same strike prices or close to the same strike prices. We'll see, though. I'll be back this weekend with that information. All right, guys. Well, so the computer's back. So hopefully the content will be better this weekend and next week. I appreciate you guys for watching me give the updates on the phone this week. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. And I have a couple of videos coming out this weekend, so we'll see each other soon. I'm going to do the buffer report for one thing. Now that I have the computer back, well, I'm going to have a fund of the week and a buffer report. That'll probably be out tomorrow. All right, guys, a buffer report for the week. All right, guys, you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.